Hello YouTube, Reddit Math here, and welcome to Absolver. This is the first title from indie developer Sloclap out of Paris, France, being published by Devolver Digital, which is a studio that's been come to be known for producing a lot of very quality indie titles over the last few years, and a game that I've been excited about for probably a little over a year at this point. I played about 15 minutes of it just to get an idea of how it would play and make sure that everything worked out of the gate. But otherwise, I'm going in pretty blind here. I played through a few minutes of the tutorial, 14 minutes on the save game that I deleted. But we're going to jump in and kind of experience the opening bits together. Absolver is sort of an open world 3D fighting game. And I think it's important to put that right up front, that it is a fighting game. I think a lot of people that are talking about it or covering it or playing it, they're going in with some poor expectations of what this game has to offer. But it's been something that I've looked forward to for a while now, as I actually do enjoy fighting games quite a bit. We're going to go ahead and just jump in to a new game. We've got a little bit of a character creation thing. Unlike a lot of fighting games, you're not picking from a character select screen. It's the custom fighter screen in some games, and only that. So every character is made custom. Now we've got some origin, which basically just defines skin color. I work indoors and I've gotten pretty pale over the years, so that seems about right. For haircuts, we don't have any giant grizzly mans with long hair or anything, but I think maybe the attached is as close as we could get if I had maybe shaved my beard and trimmed my hair up a little bit. And for hair colors, I think auburn is going to get us about as close as we can go. Now, to start off with, we're going to be asked to choose a fighting style. And this is going to define basically our starting move set and some of our defensive abilities. I've already decided between the Forsaken, the Cult method, and Windfall that I'm most interested in the Cult method. Dismisses the stun of an attack, lost health can be recovered, improves mainly strength and vitality. So the Cult are sort of the strength-based fighting style. Windfall, dexterity. Forsaken, somewhere in the middle, a balanced combat style with a focus on strength. I'm actually going to try to play this, at least in the beginning, more or less like I know how to martial art. Some of you who have followed the channel for a little while may know, but I have a military background, and martial arts training was done in the Marine Corps using their designed Marine Corps martial art program, or MCMAP. And before joining the military, I have some background in Tenshinkai Aikido that I took for a while there. So some of the moves that are going to be seen in this game, I certainly could never do. I'm not the spinning back kick guy. I like to focus on, jabs, crosses, hooks, uppercuts, some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu striking with elbows and knees, that sort of thing. Not so much the huge flourishes. And some of the other methods, like Windfall, is very kung fu and is very pretty. Forsaken, a little in the middle there, like a karate kind of thing. But the Cult method emphasizes a lot of street boxing, and I think is going to work for me. And for our name, I think we shall be Red. And there we go. All right, and we're going to jump right into an opening cinematic and then some gameplay. Like I said, I have seen this first little bit before, but I'm going to get to the flying blind before too long. I do really love that art style thing here. I know that still image has very little to do with the game itself, but I think it's cool. The aesthetic of the game I'm enjoying quite a lot. All right. Now, if you're all wondering what exactly is going on here, I think that actually does a pretty good job of explaining one of the things about the game, which is going to be how its storytelling is delivered. This is not a deep lore-based kind of thing. It's very light on storytelling. It is, again, at its heart, a fighting game. What we've seen there, I don't know, we were coming from some kind of martial arts school. We were chosen by a master, sent over to a fancy hologram, given a wooden mask to put on that had some kind of crazy shimmery stuff, and sucked us into wherever we are now. Down the rabbit hole, as it were. The Plains of Adal. Now, also the game has not gone for any sort of photorealistic art style, but I quite enjoy what's happening here. I think the game looks gorgeous, even if it does not necessarily look realistic. And as we pan around, there's a little bit of, I don't even know if I would call it artifacting. I think it's intentional sort of motion blur that comes across as a little pixelated. Somebody said of this game, this is the Matrix fighting game that we all wished would have existed in like the late 90s, and I completely agree. All right, so this is going to be our tutorial section, of course. Oh, I love that. It actually persists across character. I modified at least one thing in the game. I have made click right stick lock on. I'm sorry, but you know, if you're a third-person video game, I've played way too much Dark Souls for that to be any other button. Normally it's one of the shoulder buttons. Found that real confusing. Kept pressing the wrong thing. So I've gone ahead and changed that. While we are locked on, we can flick the right stick. Again, it would be holding one of the shoulder buttons, but I've gone ahead and made that R3. And I think that actually works pretty well. And tap again to unlock. All right. And as we come down here, we can attack with some square, square, square. I am playing on a PlayStation DualShock controller, so we get squares. All right, pretty straightforward. Punch people, they dissolve into weird holographic light particle effects kind of stuff. And the combat deck. Your combat deck has 4 stances. Each starts with different attacks. Enter each stance once. All right. So, while locked on, we're going to R2, and then we're going to hit the right stick. And you're going to see in the center there that there is a 4-directional sort of front left, front right, back left facing that we can do. And when we're in these different facings, we change what our moveset is going to be. So this sort of square, square, square starts with like a real high punch and follows up by like a pretty powerful strong side punch. Yeah. It also shifts us into the other side immediately after that, which, so as you'll see here, well, does it? 1, 2, no? Maybe that was me moving off? Yeah, I think it was. Okay, so the other side has an uppercut and then another high punch. So like uppercut, high punch. I don't actually know what these are called yet. I'm sure they have actual names that are maybe not that. But you will notice that my like forward left moveset moves me into my forward right moveset. And this is probably going to be true, yeah, of the back stuff too. That it sort of wants me to get into that forward and right again. Okay. And then the reason I keep going into forward and left is because I'm backing off, and that's moving me out of it. Okay. Also, the tooltip, alternate attacks change your stance, allowing you to chain smoothly with other attacks. So you'll see I also have this sort of heavy attack that I do that always moves me around into other stances. I did notice that it doesn't move me into this one, though, which that's a pretty cool elbow. So far, I'm digging it. I don't think I would do that kind of flying elbow quite like that. My martial arts experience has always taught me that my feet leaving the ground is generally a bad idea. I trained in those kinds of martial arts where a solid stance on the ground was generally preferable. All right. We also have a block button. What fighter would be complete without one? And we're going to learn the first sort of inkling of what more is to come. So you see as we're blocking these attacks that a little wheel is appearing there with the little blue circle moving around it. It's going to talk about these, I'm sure, at some point in the tutorial, but I want to mention it up front because it's probably the biggest selling point this game has for me, which is that the moves that are being used against us, these are moves that we're able to learn from our opponents by fighting them, just through combat. And if you've ever trained in a martial art, that's pretty much how I got taught how to do things, was an instructor would be like, all right, here's how this move works, pair up, you punch him with this move 20 times, and then when you're done, he's going to punch you with that move 20 times. And we do that, you know, for hours at a time. That's how moves are learned and perfected, and technique is criticized, etc., etc. So the game has adapted that into this idea that as you fight people that know attacks that you don't know, blocking or dodging, which we haven't learned the button for dodge yet, but dodging will also teach us some of these moves. So you'll see, like, she has a really cool hook. Nope, none of that was it. Where's the hook? Throw the hook. Throw the hook. That's the same 3-hit thing. Oh, man. Also love the little emotes, the, like, grabbing a wrist and, you know, like, shaking out the neck, that kind of stuff. I think that's really cool. Is this it? That's it. I would love to learn that. It's about 50% though, so I don't think we want to necessarily watch me stand here and get hit for the 5 minutes this will take. So let's go ahead and learn our tooltip. Guard can also allow you to cancel out of attacks in order to feint. So I, for instance, can attack and then block, and instead of doing either, I will simply advance to the next step in my combo, which can be very useful if the first hit in your combo is always the same thing. Eventually your opponent starts to learn to anticipate that. You can shake things up a little bit, you know, and feint into something and then bring out the next strike. It also allows you to just bypass, well, didn't quite pull that off, to just bypass an attack. You know, it doesn't have to always be the first thing. If, for example, the second move in your combo is a little bit slower and you want to just jump right past that, you can feint through it, and that will allow you... I'm not sure. Okay, I can feint. I wasn't sure if I could feint while not locked on, but I can. Feint can allow you to bypass maybe like a slower move in order to get back to something that hits a little bit quicker. So, multiple opponents and the dodge button. And I'm doing a great job of demonstrating, but this is clearly going to be very important as we have to fight multiple opponents at the same time. Being able to dodge in and out of them, oh man, and I could probably be doing a better job of that, is going to be fairly useful. You'll also notice you don't actually have to be locked onto your opponent to attack at them, which I think is great. So like when somebody just comes up beside you, you can just attack in that direction, and you will also be able to strike that way. Oh, jeez. I also wanted to show that if you just... Apparently I know the first punch. If you just dodge an attack, you will also learn a little bit about it. So not just turtling up and blocking. I believe dodging actually learns moves a little bit faster than blocking, as blocking is fairly dumb, you know, is fairly easy to do. You just stand there and get hit, whereas dodging requires like a little bit of you doing a thing. So it's rewarded a little bit better, which makes sense. And now let's just go ahead and learn a little bit more of that sidekick. I think is probably what that was. All right. And continue to wander through our sort of bizarre, unknown landscape. We have a very fancy door up here that tells us that we need to find and defeat Salon. Okay, okay. I'll tell you what. Oh. Let's see about just cutting through these guys for a moment. And we'll play a little bit less defensively now. Oh, that was fun. And it does seem like opponents that look the same or maybe are the same in the sense of their combat moveset. I noticed the red shirt guy brought out that same sort of high sidekick again. Alright, our other defensive move. So because we chose the cult method specifically, yeah, and she's got that same 2-hit combo. Okay, cool. Because we chose the cult specifically, we have Absorb. And the way Absorb works there is you're going to see that my health actually did go down when being hit by that, but I naturally regen from it. Ooh, that was a terrible example. It was a little bit slower than I thought it was. So you'll see, for example, there's a white portion of my health that is slowly regenerating. If I get hit again, I will lose that, but if I don't get hit while it's cooling down, or if I strike back, I can regain that health. And that's sort of the cult method. It's like a super block that allows your opponent to just sort of pass through you for a moment and absorb their attack. The other two fighting styles that we passed on, one of them has a parry, and the other has a better version of dodge. Alright, Salon the Door Guardian, huh? Alright, let's see what this is all about. One of the ways I've found that I like to use the Absorb is to actually block the first attack and then absorb through later parts of the combo. Not just blocking it basically allows you to start up your own combo a little bit faster. Like you're not recovering from the block in quite the same way. And you can punish. Something like that. Same with dodges. I kind of like to... The block is just, you know, omnidirectional. It's got sort of everything covered. You know you're going to be safe from the block. You're going to take some stamina damage. But I'd rather set up for the higher risk, higher reward of a dodge with something like that. Alright, we do have a little bit of a shortcut leading back to the door. We defeated the Door Guardian, and... fancy. And I have not seen anything beyond this point. So... some whipping wind around us here. And a not-so-aggressive man with a very fancy... well, sort of... like, it reminds me of, like, the doctor with the sort of mirrored thing on their head. Although, not exactly, huh? I am Talem. I will try to help you as you progress, but if you lose yourself to the fold, I won't be able to save you. No idea what that means, right? The fold. Those who wear the mask are not all your enemies, you know. I will not attack you. Good to know. When you are safe, you can enter meditation and practice your combat deck. In meditation, you can practice and edit your combat deck. Okay? Meditation. The combat deck. Practice. In the practice mode, you can edit your combat deck stances. Edit. Okay. So here is the thing that sells me on this game so hard. Every character and all of the movesets you get to design from like the full breadth of every attack in the game and just make it up as you go. So, you see here, like, our initial combat sequence is the jab punch followed by the cross punch. Jab, cross. Okay. And over here, we've got a curled up uppercut. And, so, alright. Wish I had a mouse cursor to show on screen, but this second set, right? It starts in our upper left stance, but it ends then in our upper right stance. So it's going to move us into this stance, allowing us to continue this combo. This is true of our other two stances as well. They all only have a single attack on them, and that single attack is always designed to put us back, right back here, into our 1-2 punch that we're sort of always wanting to do. The jab, and then the cross. Got an uppercut, got the liver knee, and a fast punch. Okay, I can dig it. Now, we can add a move. So we did learn... Ooh, charged haymaker. They're organized by where they finish. And we're only seeing things that already start in this position. So what I'm looking for is... also like body blow quite a bit. Charged haymaker might be a little bit slow. I'm looking for... or no, this is everything. This is everything. Okay. The move... did we not learn the move? Did we never... I totally thought we learned the move. Or was that the move? Was it the... it is the charged haymaker. Okay, I thought it spun more for some reason. So it ends in upper left. I'm trying to think of where a good place to put that would be. I mean, I guess it would just... like if we put it here... then what we're going to see is... yeah, that we've got a very slow 1-2 from here. Or if we just do 1 and then allow our combat to resettle, then we go back into the other faster 1-2 punches. Let's tell you what then. Let's edit. And the first move, yes. And then let's try making the second move the curled uppercut. Now does that do what I want? So now that's the haymaker. It just bounces back and forth on itself. Okay. So we want our first move to also finish here. In upper right. Oh, all of these finish in upper right. I see. I see. Okay. I think I'm getting it now. So what I'd really like is a starting move that finishes in upper left, and then a finishing move that ends in upper right to chain into this combo. So don't really have that. Do I? No, they are different moves, or are they just different moves because the one move's equipped? I believe so. Okay, so something that starts and ends in upper left, like a jab? I do. Okay, so they can only exist in one slot though. Okay. And then we'll move it to finishing up there, so like the charged haymaker, and then something else that finishes in upper right. Those are both being used. Curled uppercut, body blow. No, I don't want to continue. Oh, I haven't put anything over here now. Oh, man. Okay. Let's do a low kick. No. Not what I want. charged haymaker, and then here will be our low kick. Okay. I like the variety of moves. The charged haymaker is maybe a little too slow. But I do like the way that it mixes up speed quite a bit. There is like an optimal reload mechanic going on where we actually do want to strike at the perfect time as sort of a rhythm fighter to keep things going. Okay, so if I start here, I have 1, 2, no. Start here, 1, 2, no. 1, 2, 1, 2. There we go. So 1, 2, 1, 2. I really should want the jab up front, right? I'm gonna end up putting like everything back the way that it started. So instead of the body blow, we'll lead with the jab because of just how fast it is. And then curled uppercut into charged haymaker, or curled uppercut into body blow. I think the body blow might be a better fit just because of how much faster it is. Oh, I didn't need to do that. Just how much faster it is. We'll maybe leave the haymaker for another time. All right, we're gonna actually practice, and I think that's gonna do it for now. Okay. All right, so I don't know how well I did of explaining the combat deck mechanics rather than just sort of using them, but I think that is by and large the most appealing of the game's mechanics right there, is the fact that you get this sort of fully customizable fighter that you get to make, and you really get to make them your own, right? Like I said, I kind of want to focus on punches and blows that I myself know how to throw, which means, I'm sure you don't want me getting back into this, but which means, for instance, everything in this I can do. This is literally the only thing I wouldn't do. You know what? Let's replace that with the charged haymaker. Yeah, that makes the perfect amount of sense. So now, this stance, my alternate attack is now, oh, and I also really like that. So now my alternate attacks are haymaker, kick. It still doesn't go through this one, and I like that one a lot, that backhanded elbow. But now our alternate attacks are also like a really nice sort of combo that we can get into as well. And I like that sweeping leg. Okay, so yeah, let's get out of that before I drive anyone else insane. But I like the idea that I can create a fighting style that I like. That eventually the the Reddit math school would be something that I might actually have taught someone. I think that's a great aspect of the game, as a defining characteristic of Absolver. Not just the beautiful aesthetics. So I'm assuming this will be the end of our tutorial, and that we will be moving on into the actual open world. That's probably a pretty good place to end a first episode. I hope you guys got some idea of what the game is all about. Like I said, I think it's important to approach the game for what it is, and to not have had expectations that this is some open world RPG or anything like that. You know, I'm not going to be taking quests from people or anything. I'm going to be running around climbing that tower, but you know, collecting moves, building and fine-tuning my perfect move set in order to become a sort of kung fu master. This is very 1970s kung fu movie of character wandering through the forest, and then three guys are like, hey, you want to fight? And you're like, of course I do, because I'm a kung fu master, and we all just sort of fight, and that's that. While running around in kind of cool, mystical landscapes. Guidance Bridge, huh? Okay. Well, I don't want to stop playing right now, but I do think I'm going to go ahead and end this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know things have been a bit sporadic on the channel. As I'm recording this at 1 o'clock in the morning, I've been off work for about an hour, and I'm currently on call for my job, so had any phone calls come in the middle of this recording, I would have had to stop so that I could have answered that. Some of my responsibilities at work have changed recently, and unfortunately that pays the bills, so it gets the priorities. It's made recording times a little bit harder to find, and I apologize for that. I still haven't lost that love for video games. I just don't always find the time to play them as much as I would like. I do hope you guys enjoyed this video, though. If you did, feel free to subscribe. There's still lots more on the channel. You can leave a like or a comment if you have anything to say about this or any of my other videos, and I will catch you guys next time.